I'm Chimoyo Mangazi with Business Time on Times. This is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. In today's program, we begin to analyze performance of the economy and businesses in the first half of 2026. Also in the program, Escom rolls out a $6.3 million project to curb poor vandalism and high maintenance costs. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. The local economy has faced a number of challenges affecting business operations in the past 6 months, among them persistent currency and forex pressures. To break down what this means for the country, we engaged Economics Association of Malawi President Betha Jigadza.
The economy hasn't fully recovered. It's showing a little bit of signs of recovering, but I think pressures are still there. We're talking of pressures because I think we can see that there were growth prospects of the economy to grow probably by 3.8% in 2026-2027. But looking at how things are turning out, we are also expecting a El Nino and during the growing season, and we are hoping that maybe the impact will not be much. But if it is much, then the growth prospects that we had will not materialize. We have seen inflation coming down from somewhere around 33, 31. Now we're talking of maybe 23.4%. In terms of food inflation, is coming down, even though non-food inflation is still up, but overall inflation is coming down. Even though this is not translating into easing pressures in terms of how people are feeling, but economic-wise, this is something that I think we should say we are going in the right direction. The economy is still struggling in terms of foreign exchange availability. Those who are in businesses of maybe procuring raw materials for processing or for feeding into maybe manufacturing within the country, they're still facing problems in terms of to remit whatever they want to use for purchasing the inputs. We have seen, for example, I think with that issues of foreign exchange problems, that's why we're seeing non-food inflation is not coming down because people are pricing most of the imported products with the black market price or the parallel market foreign exchange price. And that is actually putting more pressure on the inflation part. Imported inflation is coming in, and then that part of parallel market pressure. We have also seen, I think, some efforts by government in terms of public debt. They have had, some notable efforts. We have seen them. The government is trying to cut down on borrowing. We've even seen that when the government has been rejecting some of the debt on the market. And we've even seen rates coming down, some of the treasury bills, and this is a good effort because we've always been talking about cutting government borrowing so that at least we can reduce also issues of government deficit, government debt, and so on. So that is also something that we have seen. It's an effort that is showing some positives on the people, but I think we need to do more, especially looking at the economy is not really performing well. Much as inflation is coming down, is still above 20%. The government, I think in the 2026-27 budget, they hinted about having maybe 15% or thereabout. Something that we know it's an uphill, but if we do certain things right, maybe we might be going there. But with a projected, unanticipated El Nino, maybe that will also be an uphill to experience. But I think we have also seen some weaknesses in terms of exports. It's only this year that I think we also saw problems in the our exports, tobacco, the main export, or foreign exchange earner. We saw high rejection rate. We saw even the amount of the kilograms that we sold vis-a-vis maybe what we did last year. That also has an implication in terms of the foreign reserves that we need to accumulate, but also on what we have in terms of purchasing the fuel, fertilizer, medicine, and any essential imports that we need. So I think with that, but also looking at maybe our undiversified exports, because we're not exporting more and we rely heavy on tobacco. This is something that I think has also hit the economy a lot. It doesn't contribute much when we look at even the imports of fuel, but I think it's something that we always smile about when we see the tobacco industry doing well. And so that is also something I think that we can say it has really hit the country. It's also this year that we've seen the economy being brought to a standstill. We experienced a lot of problems in terms of fuel. We had an episode of no fuel at all, where the whole country was dry and people were actually purchasing fuel on the power market. We saw prices rising up because of that, transportation costs, which also hit even the manufacturing sector, but all other sectors and the business community so much because with that, I think it also crippled the economy.
And Manufacturers Association of Malawi President Gloria Zimba weighs in on the half-year business situation.
Business has been very tough in the first half of 2026 because of so many contributing economic factors. The issue is, towards the end of 2025, government changed and added some levies, increased some levies, and created or introduced new levies, fiscal levies. So these have really contributed to cost of doing business in Malawi, and it has really been tough. Unfortunately, when such additional production costs come in, they get passed on to the consumer, they get passed on to the increase the retail cost of products and services. So Malawian economy is based on affordability. A lot of Malawians are struggling economically to make ends meet. So what drives the consumer decision is affordability. How much can they afford? And almost 75% of our population, they really look at the lower end of the market. Whenever they have a little money, they look at how much can I buy, how many goods and services can I buy with the little money that I have. We have a very small percentage of the Malawi population that is white collar, that buys goods and services based on status and quality. So that is what is contributing to the tough economic performance of businesses in Malawi. We are failing to sell. In a nutshell, businesses are struggling to sell their goods and services. We are living in a global world. So as we are living in a global world, every company, every private sector organization is in competition. We are competing locally on our local market, but we are also competing internationally, starting with the SADC region itself, COMESA, within Africa, and then outside Africa. So when the cost of doing business is very expensive, when our cost of production is very expensive, cost of transport is very expensive, the way it is in Malawi, we slowly become uncompetitive. Our goods and services become slightly very expensive for the end user, the consumer. So as a result, people begin to look for alternatives. So they would look for alternatives within the local market, which is going for illicit products because they look to be cheaper. And these illicit products are poorly produced products, probably products that are not following the standards of production. They cut corners so that they can reduce their cost of production, and as a result, they are not compliant to either the tax policies. They are not compliant to the Malawi Bureau of Standards requirements. And people also look for smuggled products, because smuggled products also cut corners. As they are coming in from the border, they don't pay any taxes. So because they are not paying any taxes at the border, they evade taxes at the border. They seem to be cheaper when they come into Malawi. So people really begin to look for such alternatives. The other tangent of business that is affected is the retailers themselves. So any retailer would look at their profit margin. So when they are buying, currently what is happening when they are buying our local goods and services within Malawi, they are looking at their profit margin and they see that they are not making enough money. So they are tempted to also begin to trade in smuggled products, because they feel they are making a slightly higher profit from the smuggled products than the locally produced or the locally manufactured products. So that also affects our private sector. It affects our locally produced goods and services, because people now are beginning to have more appetite for smuggled or imported products, as opposed to our local products, where our local products are becoming more expensive.
The Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, Escom, has begun replacing aging wooden transmission poles with pre-stressed concrete poles under a $6.3 million investment. The initiative is aimed at improving electricity reliability and cutting maintenance costs. Benedetta Chuandamia reports.
Malawi has been grappling with power outages, and one of the reasons that the Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, Escom, has attributed the challenge to is the issue of having to replace its poles, vandalism of infrastructure. Now the corporation has embarked on a project whereby it is replacing the wooden power poles with what they are calling the pre-stressed concrete poles. These poles are expected to address power outages in a way that they are durable and they will not need much of maintenance. Escom has also highlighted that it is becoming costly for it to replace the wooden poles, which sometimes would need replacing just after 5 years. And the project is coming in to address that, to ensuring that the power lines are durable. Where we are at is the Mapanga Fundisi 66 kV line that distributes power in the districts of Palombe, Mulanje, as well as Choro. But this work is also taking place in another transmission line, and that one is the Pombea line, the 134 Pombea line, which also is very key because it carries power from Nkula and it distributes it to other districts and other areas. Speaking to the media, one of the representatives from the contractor, Sawa Construction, Sawa Group Construction, said that they are estimating that the works will be done by December, and this is what James Munyui, a representative from the Sawa Group, had to say.
This line is 44 kilometers, which is from Mapangas to Fundisi. This line, we have already started working on it. We started delivering the poles from last year, but we have come on the ground last month. And so far, here said we have already elected 38 structures by yesterday. And we are expecting to finish this project before the rain starts, which is maybe early December or late November.
And on his part, Engineer Isaac Kunkean from Infrastructure Projects Planners, the supervisor of this project, highlighted that this is a solution for Malawi, as it will ensure that we have durable energy infrastructure, and they are making sure that the infrastructures that are being erected are indeed durable and can save Malawians for a long period of time. This is what he had to say.
The merits for using these poles, which are in concrete, are that wooden poles are prone to damage through wildfire, people, peeling off the pole or even cutting, and also termites eating up the pole. So again, by aging, the pole will eventually retire and eventually can collapse. So these are things that we envisage, that using these pre-stressed and reinforced concrete poles, we will have a more robust kind of structure which may last much longer, 80 years plus, still being used without having to replace.
Now, Escom has also described this project as a milestone in trying to address power outages as well as trying to address vandalism. The Escom Chief Public Relations and Communications Manager Pilani Piri highlighted that the corporation has been losing billions in replacing energy infrastructure, and this project is killing two birds, as it is addressing the durability challenges as well as ensuring that we curb vandalism by erecting powerful and durable infrastructure that could withstand the vandalism activities that have been happening. And this is what he had to say.
That's killing two birds with the one stone. It's obvious that vandalism has been affecting Escom greatly, but by replacing these lines with the concrete poles, it ensures that we are also fighting vandalism on the other side, because it's difficult for people to ransack or vandalize concrete poles like the one we have just witnessed here.
The works are expected to be carried out up until December, and Escom has invested in total over 6 million for the two transmission line, the Mapanga Fundis line as well as the Pombea 134 kV line.
This is Business Time on Times. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Malawi Stock Exchange listed Sunbed Tourism Limited has reported a 17% increase in profit after tax for the year ended December 31, 2025. This is despite operating in an environment marked by foreign currency shortages, high business costs, and economic uncertainty. More in this report.
Speaking after the company's annual general meeting AGM held in Blantyre on Monday, board chairperson Luciano Miqueias said the hotel group's profit after tax rose to 12.5 billion kwacha from 10.6 billion kwacha recorded in 2024. Revenue also increased by 31% to 71.7 billion kwacha, up from 54.6 billion kwacha in the previous year. Miqueias attributed the improved financial performance to prudent cost management, higher revenues, and strong demand for hospitality services.
All right, in terms of performance, I think it was not an easy year. It was an election year. There were a lot of challenges relating to changes in terms of policy. USA funded NGOs. I think a lot of them withdrew. So it was a tough year. But we have still performed. You have noted that we've still managed to make a profit of about 12.5 billion, which clearly demonstrates that Sunbed is very resilient and is able to adapt to the changes that we are facing within the hospitality industry. So it was quite a good year. We are looking at competition. You know, it's obvious that we'll face competition, either in the near future or even now. But the expansion drive that we are having is to prepare ourselves for the future competition. You've seen that the new projects that we've embarked on technically are putting us ready for such challenges in the future, the competition that we are likely to face. I think that's why we are making sure that at least we improve our customer experience so that when they are able to visit our hotels, our lodges, our conferences, they are satisfied and they keep on coming to us. And in so doing, we'll be able to sustain our business as a company.
One of the shareholders, Lovemore Tinto, described the company's performance as encouraging, saying the improved profits, higher dividend and continued investment demonstrated management's commitment to growth.
The reaction is good because as we already noticed from the chairman's and financial statements, it has shown that it has managed to make a very good profit comparing for 2024 accounts. There is a good dividend that we are going to receive, and on top of that, the company has managed to improve. They have added 60 rooms at Livingstonia. They have erected Livingstonia International Conference Center, LICC. This is a milestone and it shows that the company is more serious.
The company achieved the results despite facing challenges such as foreign currency shortages and the high cost of doing business.
Well, with that item, we've come to the end of today's edition of Business Time here on Times. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Chiwama Mangazi. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.